This panel is about the resurgence and rebirth of Mithai. Yes, and for that, I'd now like to call upon stage, firstly, the very well-known Siddarth Mathur, a visionary entrepreneur who transformed his passion for sweets into India's premium luxury Mithai brand, KHOYA Mithai. With a background in banking and hospitality and experience across more than 100 F&B projects, Siddarth launched KHOYA in 2016 to bring the magic of handcrafted, preservative-free Indian sweets back to life. Today, the brand is celebrated for its exquisite natural ingredient recipes and elegant presentation, and is expanding globally with luxurious boutiques and discerning clients. Siddarth Mathur continues to lead the sweet revolution, one handcrafted treat at a time. And now the other panelist. This is a very well-known chef, Girish Nayak. Chef Girish Nayak, the chef Mithai Wala at Bombay Sweet Shop. His culinary journey began at just 17, taking him from the kitchens of ITC Grand Maratha in Mumbai to the Culinary Institute of America in New York. And through celebrated kitchens like Jean Gorgeous, La Bernete, Gotham Bar and Grill. Today, he reimagines Indian sweets with creativity and flair, blending tradition and innovation. Recently named Dessert Chef of the Year 2025 by Travel and Leisure India, Chef Girish continues to sweeten India's culinary legacy.
I'm actually filling in for Mr. Maneesh Baheti, and I'm absolutely unprepared for what I'm about to say, so please bear with me. I'm sitting here with two lovely gentlemen, one of whom I know for the last 20 years, and one of whom I would love to get to know. Girish, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
And Siddarth, thank you so much for being here.
Lovely to be here.
I just want to give you a little bit of a background about why we thought it would be a nice conversation to have on stage about the resurgence of Mithai in India. We all are very fond of our laddus and our jalebis and our kheers and our halwas. But what one has noticed in the past few years is that there has been a resurgence in the Mithai market. Now, what has happened is that besides the fact that people have started looking at it as also a thing that they would like to consume as a healthy option, people have started gifting mithais absolutely in every occasion now. So I just wanted to check with both of you to tell me that what, in your view, has led to this kind of a reinvention and resurgence. I'll start with Sid, and then I'd like you to tell your bit.
Well, I mean, that's a great question, and I think the result and what we're seeing around us is obvious. When we started the idea of KHOYA, it was almost unfathomable of how Mithai could come back and what was that magic that we had lost over the years. I think that we were seeing that during weddings, during events, people were giving chocolates, you know, cupcakes, brownies, and I was like, what's going on over here? And I think that unfortunately Mithai had become the lowest common denominator. It had become a cheap, commoditized product. You know, the packaging was awful, the hygiene was questionable, the consistency was inconsistent. So putting everything together, we created that, and I think since then we've seen a huge resurgence because Mithai also has a wonderful history. You know, and when you travel across international cities and spaces, you see that they really own their desserts. And a lot of them have this wonderful history. We actually have history that spreads 1,200 years old, 500 years old, 400 years old Mithai. Wonderful stories, at one point only good for kings and courts. And so I think it's about time that now people have seen Mithai in a new light, and with us and many more now bringing that back, focusing on packaging, focusing on quality, focusing on storytelling, it's coming back.
All right. Well, I'm in the panel now.
Welcome, Maneesh.
Nice to have you.
Sorry for being a little late. I was seeing off Ranveer Brar. But thank you very much for coming, Siddarth. Thank you very much for coming, Girish. I love the acronym that you've earned, Chief Mithai Wala.
Yeah.
How did that come about?
we were wondering what name to give, and like we reimagined our Mithai, we also wanted to reimagine a new title. And Chef Floyd and I was standing, and we were deciding what to call this title, and we had come up with Chief Mithaiwala, and I said, okay, this is the only chef in India who will ever have this name, because we came up with it. So, and that's how it happened.
The legendary Chef Floyd.
Yeah.
We all miss him.
Yeah, we all miss him a lot.
How long did you work with him when you were?
I worked with him for 2 years.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So while building Bombay Sweet Shop, in 2016, I met him in New York.
Right.
We had talk about how Indian mithai is losing, like people are not that excited about Indian mithais anymore. The entire savory of the Indian food has taken a big elevation, but the Indian sweets has still been the same. If you see the West, a croissant has gone through evolution. Lemon tart has gone through all of that.
Right.
But Indian mithai, kaju katli still remained a kaju katli. Nothing happened. It was still a diamond shape, and there was nothing. And we had such discussions with me, Samir, Yash, and all of us were having a discussion. And then with his entire mentorship is what we built Bombay Sweet Shop, and it's where it is now.
Brilliant. Well, I want to be a little tongue-in-cheek, and you don't have to be humble about it, Siddarth. But tell me, really, isn't KHOYA the first brand which actually reinvented the Indian sweets in the market? Or am I missing something here?
I mean, I'd like to think so. I think that at the time that we came up with that idea, yes, there were maybe hotels who were doing the fusion.
No, forget hotels.
mithais.
I'm talking about as
Yeah.
a brand which was available. You know what a brand, right?
Yeah, I'm for sure. I think that we were the first. I can't.
And that's
think
what
of
I
anybody.
remember, and that's why we are so extra and
Yeah.
very, very proud of you.
Yeah, no, thank you. When we started it, we also weren't ready for the power of it. So we had a marketing budget that we never used for the first 3 years,
Right.
because we did one wedding, and after that, everybody who was at the wedding, they
Right.
became our clients, and then from Louis Vuitton to
Go
to
ahead,
fashion,
spell out which
everybody.
wedding it was, Siddarth. Spill the beans. The world knows anyway. Why don't they hear it from your mouth?
Yeah, no, it was, we were definitely the pioneers, and I think that a lot of people also ask me now, there's so many more brands, and I feel so happy, almost
Right.
emotional, because I feel that we've almost set out to achieve what we wanted to achieve, to
Absolutely.
bring back Mithai, because that was the priority. It's not like I want to be bigger, I want to be better. It's like, how can we bring back the importance of such a wonderful cultural element that had lost its way?
Right. I remember in one season of Coffee with Karan, KHOYA was part of the hamper. Which year was that?
Actually, we've done it 2 years.
For
So
2 years,
we were
okay.
selected in, I think, 2015 or 16.
Mm-hmm.
We had a Mithai box, and that was the first one. And after that, 2 years later, we had a Mukwas box gift set. So
I
we
see.
actually ended up being at Coffee with Karan twice.
Brilliant. Well
We
done.
sold out all our Mukwas that Diwali.
So proud. Well, the reason why I'm saying what I'm saying is because Siddarth is also a very old friend of ours. Sonali and he were colleagues about 23 years ago. They worked together as bankers, ING Bank, and Monique. And Monique, she's waving wildly from the audience. Yes, so they were all together. And he's been a wonderful friend. And Sonali always speaks very highly about what a brilliant colleague he was. But coming back, this is a bit, it's like a family thing going on here right now. So tell me, Chef Nayak, tell us a bit about your transition from being a chef who obviously made a specialty for himself, and then how did you transition from becoming the chief Mithaiwala?
So my base understanding is on Western sweets, and I spent a lot of time in New York to learning from French chefs, learning my base pastry.
Let me get this right. You traveled to New York and to France to learn the techniques
Yes,
of...
no, not France, just New York, to work
Oh,
under some
okay.
French chefs and
Right.
three-star place.
Right.
And to get my, because that was my interest to learn. I wanted to learn that. But then when I came back to India and I was working as a pastry chef at Olive in Bangalore, I kind of realized that I know so much about Western sweets, but I don't know about our own culture, our own sweets. And that was a very embarrassing time for me to realize this, is that our sweets are also very exciting. Like to
course.
make motichur, to see how jalebi's been made and or imarti, the shaping. There's no stencil. You're going at it and everything looks the same. And that skill to have is amazing. And I was just like, this is what I want to do. I want to take a break, quit my Western pastry job, and then move and learn how to make Indian sweets. And at this time is when I met Chef Lloyd and everyone, and then this worked out. And for 2 years, I got very lucky to work in Kolkata under some Mithai Walas, in Jaipur with some Fini and Ghevar people for 2 weeks. So I actually went and worked with them, and the proudest time was when they were actually selling the Ghevar I made. And I was like, oh wow, I actually got this thing going, you know. And then I spent some time in Coimbatore to work with the Shri Krishna sweet people. So this all experience really helped me to be where I am right now. So
Brilliant. Thank you for sharing that. This is the 10th year of the South Asian Association for Gastronomy. Yes. So it's actually a very momentous occasion for us. You know, we are celebrating our 10th year of existence at Ahmedabad at this fabulous venue. But I'll have you know, in the very first Food for Thought Fest, which was in 2015 at the India Habitat Center, Chef Abhijit Saha had done a cookery demo of gulab jamun cheesecake, you know, and that kind of blew everyone's pants off. And Associated Press covered our event that year, and they came and asked me as the festival organizer, you know, which are the chefs that we should cover. So we gave 2 names. One was Abhijit Saha for his gulab jamun cheesecake, and the other was Asma Said Khan, because she made her debut for the first time ever in Food for Thought Fest. And the rest, as they say, is history. So coming back, I'm going to ask you, Sid, first. Name that one ingredient which we use in Indian mithai, which is very versatile. And the same question is for Chef Naik as well. So first you, Sid.
I'm afraid that my answer may be poetically influenced, but for me it has to be KHOYA, because when we were thinking of the brand, we were like, what is the origin, right? What are the origins? Where did it go back? And it went back to, nomad travelers, sort of boiling down milk and creating milk solids and then transporting them, and that became the basis of a lot of different things, including a lot of sweets. So for me, that resonated a lot, and we just, in fact, the first range of mithai that we made was largely KHOYA at one point, and then of course before we launched, we had the whole range. But the idea at one point was just how do we work with KHOYA as a
KHOYA
product.
it is. Chef Naik.
for me, it'll be besan.
Besan.
Yeah, I think you see besan using in down south. You will see this in coastal Karnataka. That's where I'm from. You will see this in Bengal. You will see this in Delhi. You'll see this across India. So I would totally say besan, because you can make multiple layers, everything, and you can make savory items from that, which is a big part of the entire mithai shop culture.
In South, Mysore Pak is, of course, based on besan.
Besan.
And it's one of my favorite desserts. Now we come to asking you, what is your one favorite Indian mithai which you can have eyes closed, anytime, any day?
I actually have 2. So
Okay, fine, fair enough, we'll grant you 2.
I would just say the first time I ate a really good version of a kalakan.
Kalakan?
Yeah.
I love kalakan. Yes,
yeah,
go ahead.
I think that's from the kadai. It's not shaped. It's just lying flat. And eating that was just magical for me. And I think also the wheat halwa, like the Karachi halwa, the South halwa is like a chewing gum, because I grew up eating that, made from wheat milk.
Or the kada prasada you get at all gurdwaras.
No, not that version. This is the
No,
South
not
version,
that
the
one.
sticky one.
Oh, that gluten.
Gluten,
Got
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Okay, you
It's
like the glutinous one.
Yeah, glutinous
Okay.
one, made from wheat milk.
Right.
Not the cornstarch one, the wheat
Fair
milk. That's what
enough.
the South one is. And this is 2 things I think I can,
Fair
eyes
enough.
closed, keep on eating.
Fair. And Sid, you?
It's a tough one, because I mean, for me, there are 3. Sorry.
Okay,
But
fair enough.
No, I'll be quick. I think.
But
when
there
I-
has to be a
no,
one out
but,
of those
yeah,
three,
no,
right?
no. As a child, I think that everybody had that besan laddu, and everybody
Yeah.
had that one. Mine is okay. It's a little bit, less coarse. It feels a little bit more melt in your mouth. And my I used to live in London, but my Masi, when he used to land, she always had a box of besan laddu because I loved it. It was like just my favorite thing.
Who doesn't?
And the other thing was a coconut barfi. So in fact, the first mithai that we ever made at KHOYA was a coconut laddu, which was our version of the coconut barfi. But when we tried the barfi, it's like it's very like synthetic-y, like super sugary, very syrupy, comes in a packet. We're like, no, this can't be how you make it. So we made our own version. And the third, which is just it's cheap, but it's like the one thing that I leave all other desserts for at weddings is jalebi. I mean, it's hard to beat a
Can
jalebi.
anything
It's
actually
really
beat
impossible.
a hot jalebi? Yeah, it has to be had hot jalebi. And, over these years, as we've all seen, they make these really. My mouth is watering. Those,
You want some
those-
rubbery with that?
those thin, crispy jalebis, and they flavor the syrup with saffron. I mean, it really does it for me. And if you put a little nicely made rubbery on top, I think it is the go-to food. What is your? So my question is that, well, I'm from Rajasthan, so we are very proud of the tradition of sweets from Bikaner, where actually Bahetis belong from. But I have to grant it to the rich tradition, the culinary tradition of Bengal, right? What has been the contribution of the Bengali cuisine, the repertoire of the Bengali sweets in both the Bombay Sweet Shop and KHOYA? First you, Sid.
Well, in the north, you're typically influenced by that Bikaneri, Rajasthani, North Indian types of mithai. And the difference of that versus Bengal is that a lot of the Bengali mithai is very super dairy based, very milk based, and also like you need to consume it within, like immediately, within 24 hours. Yeah. So then what happened as a brand that is looking to, do gifting or for weddings, that became something that almost immediately became not very commercially viable for us as a product. However, we do have certain things like Nolan Gur that we use from time to time. Nolan Gur. Nolan Gur. And those, because that we can put into a lot of different things, and that has a slightly more shelf life. And from once in a while, we may do something like for a festival, we might do something that is a very super like a cham cham but for KHOYA, it's a very small part of our offering.
Chef Nayak?
So I take from the whole kitchen point of view on how they cook their milk. When they make their kalakan or malai pera, they usually only cook around 3 liters of milk. And that is something that we adapt at the sweet shop because it balances the sweetness. The flavor of the milk actually shows up, and your milk actually color stays extremely white. So from the kitchen point of view, we have adopted that as the biggest thing because I've not seen that kind of cooking anywhere else when I've done my work. I think in terms of produce, I really like how they keep it very light. So we usually use, like Sid said, Nolan Gur is something that we use a lot. Like the kheer kadams that they make, which we use it's there in a box. The way they use Nolan Gur to make their rice pash, we incorporate all of that into the Bombay Sweet Shop, and of course the rasgulla to make our rasgulla tiramisu at the sweet shop, which is amazing, and it has
It's
a good fan
fantastic.
following.
Okay, 2 last questions. Which is the most exotic sweet, which has taken the most labor, the most laborious and the most exotic sweet in KHOYA repertoire and in Bombay Sweet Shop repertoire? Which takes a lot of effort and maybe
So,
research,
So
and definitely the most expensive. Which is that one mithai? I'm trying to get, when you
For-
answer this question, I'm trying to get to the bottom of which Indian mithai then was the basis for that.
So for us at Bombay Sweet Shop, I think the most laborious would be the Indie Bar, which is our version of a chocolate made mithai. Because at Bombay Sweet Shop, we focus on what we ate as kids in terms of mithai. It is everything. It is from a candy bar to a cookie to a sweets and everything. So we see the entire sweets as such. So in that, our indie bar is the most laborious because we make a patisa, which is traditionally made, and then we add it because the texture when you eat feels like a Twix, feels like a nice crunch bite to it when you make it thin. And then we do add a black pepper caramel, and then we add like a coconut layer, which is like a burfi. So it's like a bounty snicker plus Indian sweets and then coated in chocolate. So the complexity of this is really amazing because you do have the pepper, because in down south we add a lot of pepper to our sweets. There is that coconut burfi that the entire India eats, and then there is a patisa layer. So I see in that it takes around 2 to 3 days for us to make the whole batch.
Sid.
I mean, to be honest with KHOYA, because we are not really into sort of desserts that much more than just more classical mithais. We don't have anything that's terribly, laborious, but during certain times, during Diwali and sort of wedding seasons, we do get hurt by things that have a lot of garnish. Because then, when you're producing 20,000 pieces of mithai and each has 3 pieces of garnish and they're all different, then we're like, please don't recommend that in your next meeting. Don't sell that pan pera, for God's sake. But in terms of most, I think, expensive, we actually have a gold leaf
Now you're talking.
pista cutlery.
I
And,
was going to ask.
And I mean, I'm not really into gold leaf, but we opened recently in Dubai a year
Right.
ago, and their gold,
Is the box
you need
also
gold.
of gold? Is the box
Everything
also
is
of gold?
everything is gold, So they're like, hey, do you have something in gold? So we're like, yeah, we do. They were like, what do we have in gold? We're like, yeah, just put you make this pista, sort of kaju cutlery, make a pista cutlery, and now put gold on it, and it sells.
Right. So, for us in Delhi, I've been born and brought up in Delhi. In fact, we are a very old Delhi family. And I think the one go-to sweet which kind of was a treat was piste ki lodge. That's what we grew up with. So every Diwali, piste ki lodge and dal biji, as we call it, or dal mot, the sweet and the savory, would go with the Diwali sweets. And I'm talking about more than 50, 60 years ago, a tradition which is very long. And as we know that in vegetarian cuisine, I think the most expensive dish that can ever be made is actually, I'm talking about the overall menu planning. The most expensive dish that can ever be made is not a non-veg dish, it's a veg dish. So if you make a guchi pulao or you make a guchi in gravy, that becomes the most expensive dish. There is no other meat in the world which comes close to it. And here I was expecting to hear pista, and there it came out, pista. Piste ki lodge or pista has to be the base. One last question. Which sweet best describes you, Chef Girish Nayak? And which sweet best describes you, Sid Mathur? Tick, 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 tick.
This is a question to ask other people about us.
No.
Like, seriously.
No. We'll tell you what sweet you remind us of. We will, for
I
sure.
think that's a better question.
No. But you have to say yourself as well.
That was my question. If you were a sweet, which one would you be?
Tick, 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 tick.
I never thought of that.
Tick, 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 tick. Come on.
Any answers from the audience?
I'll take that.
It's
Yeah.
core security for that guy.
But that's not an Indian mithai. We are asking for an Indian mithai. Which Indian sweet describes you best? I think you said it. Let's call it the besan ka laddu. Everyone's favorite.
Everyone loves a besan ka laddu. And Siddarth Mathur is one of those people who everybody loves, isn't it?
I mean, in office, there are 2 mithais that I'm very particular about, and I think they're always worried that has to be perfect. So one is a motichur laddu, because there's something
No explanation.
complex
We get
about
it.
simplicity.
Tick,
right?
tick,
I
tick.
think for me it'll be malpua and rabdi, the hot and cold feel.
Malpua and
It's
rabdi.
crispy. It has all the
Well said.
characters.
Yeah. I love my mother's malpua and rabdi. Yeah. Brilliant. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for
Thank you so
coming.
much for
Thank
having
you.
us.
Thank you,
It's been
guys.
a lovely
Thank you.
conversation. Let's hear it for Chef Girish Nayak and Siddarth Mathur, founder of KHOYA. We'd like to give you a little culinary token of appreciation. Would you like to please come in?
Yes, please.